Hey guys, so I was just I was just watching Mayim Bialik's video about how nothing prepared her for the swift anti-Semitism that she saw, and the swift kind of calls for more, killing of more Jews around the world, not just in Israel. Guys, I just want to say that I was prepared. I was prepared. I was born in the former Soviet Union. My parents experienced anti-Semitism, institutional. The stuff that you guys are hearing today from all these protesters and on social media, Israel is the aggressor. That was the type of stuff that the Soviet government was peddling when Israel was defending themselves in 1967 and in 73. And of course, Soviet citizens were regurgitating it, parroting it. Makes you wonder, guys, the stuff that you see on college campuses today and pretty much all over the streets. Where do you think it comes from? Who do you think created this notion of Palestinian statehood or Palestinian nation? Yeah, sure, there were tribes in that area, Arab tribes. But guys, who do you think fomented this notion? The same Soviet regime that taught its citizens that Israel is the aggressor. They found a commie in Egypt by the name of Yasser Arafat. They turned him into this religious, hero. He was a commie, he was an atheist. And they trained him and they taught him how to propagandize his way and to making people believe that there's actually a state called Palestine. We all know where the name Palestine comes from. Or do we? It comes from the Romans. Palestina. Why did they call it Palestina? After the Philistines. Why? Because they wanted to erase any memory of the Jews in the land of Israel. And they knew that our enemies were the Philistines. It just means invaders. Philistine. But I digress, guys. I was prepared. Many of us were prepared. Mayim, I don't know about you. Many of us were prepared. I don't know what planet you live on. I don't know what ivory tower you live on. I know you've been in Hollywood for a while. We've been prepared for a while. Since I was in college 20 years ago, I've been prepared. I saw it back then. I saw it in the New York club scene. See, the people that you see today on the streets, back then they were the fringe. Today, on the left. Today, they're the mainstream. They're the mainstream who vote for the same party that you do, by the way. And now you see, like, queers for Palestine walking around. Have you seen some of these shiurim, these lectures from these Arab sheikhs, Arab clerics? How they talk about gays? What planet are you guys on? Like, seriously. This is not about land. This is not about Israel. These people want us all dead. Do you understand? They want us all dead. When I say us, they're going to start with the Jews, and they're going to finish with everybody else who's not a Muslim. It's a caliphate. You understand that? And the only reason they're able to do what they're doing right now, the only reason they're able to manipulate the world and believing that they are the victims when they're literally the butchers, is because the world doesn't have God anymore. Why? Because the Soviet Union managed to infiltrate these universities and de-godify Western society, both in Europe and in America. You don't have God anymore. And when you don't have God, guys, you know the phrase, nature abhors a vacuum? Mayim, you're a scientist, you know that, right? More than anybody. So when you don't have God, you're sure as hell you're not going to support the people who live in the land of Israel, to whom the land of Israel belongs, right? You're not going to support the Jews being in the place called Judea. You're going to call it the West Bank, occupied West Bank. It's Judea. The Jews are in Judea and Samaria, where a place called Shiloh is, the place that we had for 369 years before we even had Jerusalem, where we had our Mishkan, our tabernacle. Learn some history. Hey, Mayim, why don't you teach some history? We've been prepared. I was prepared. I was prepared when I was in Chicago during the Lebanon War, and I saw Arabs of every stripe, both Sunni and Shiite, 2006, screaming, "Free, free Palestine, occupation is a crime." What does that have to do with Lebanon? What does that have to do with Lebanon? And screaming from the river to the sea, and screaming death to Jews. I was prepared in 2010. Same thing. We were prepared during all those murders of the people that you call settlers. Hey, Mayim, you keep Shabbat? Those people keep Shabbat too. They're religious, just like you. The Fogel family, yeah, I get into it. The 3 boys in Hebron. The place where our forefathers and foremothers are buried. Hebron. Or what do they call it? Al-Khalil. We were prepared. We were prepared. You know how you can be prepared? Just pay attention. We've been paying attention all this time. You have not been paying attention. You've been hanging out in Hollywood. Big Bang Theory. Blossom. Whatever. Hello? Reality. Calling Mayim Bialik. We've been paying attention. And now that people who are not religious settlers were gutted like fish, and by the way, I'll be the first to say that these people also died what's called Al-Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying God's name. Now everybody cares. Now everybody in Israel cares. Now even the people who are self-proclaimed leftists in Israel have woken up. 95 or 90% of Israel wants us to eradicate Hamas, of Israeli citizens. The left wing, the right wing, the center, the far left wing, except for a couple of schmucks in Tel Aviv. Literally a couple. My friends, I mean, where the hell you been? Where the hell you been? We've been prepared for this for a while. I've been prepared for this since I'm a kid. I don't live in illusions. Again, former Soviet citizen, parents experienced institutional anti-Semitism for the first 33 years of their lives. And the system that did that is the same one, once again, that trained the person by the name of Yasser Arafat, and also brought this horse crap that you see on college campuses. Slowly. You just didn't notice it. They taught the previous generation of professors, and then the current generation of professors were their students, and now they have students. So you're talking about at least 3 or maybe even 4 generations of this Soviet horse crap that was brought over to America and brought over to, well, in Europe they just have, ISIS guys hanging out. They just let them all in. In America, it's the colleges. They got the colleges. And by the way, don't think that Obama wasn't involved in that. With his mentors, Edward Said and Rashid Khalidi. Mayim. Many of us were prepared for this. I'm glad that you are finally awake. You got a wake-up call. That you woke up from your Hollywood matrix. Many of us were prepared for this. Many of us, at least even, especially the people connected to Torah, we're constantly talking about Mashiach and the exile of Ishmael, and the last battle before Mashiach is with the Ishmael, and the Erev Rav, and the Amalek. Mayim, I mean, what is the Torah? It's a real book. It's a book that talks about real things. It's not just metaphors. This is some real stuff. We're in the thick of it now. Yehezkel, the book of Yehezkel, the book of Zechariah. Some real stuff. Ain't no joke. So, whether or not you're religious, I wasn't religious for the first 30 years. I was still prepared for this. All you gotta do is pay attention. Anyway, this has been a long time coming. This is nothing new. It's nothing new. It's been a long time coming in Europe. It's been brewing in America. And now that the college campuses have de-godified themselves, nature abhors a vacuum. Again, you could fill it with anything you want. You could fill it with wokeism, and then you could fill it with the thing that hates wokeism the most. Islamism. Queers for Palestine, right? Chickens for KFC. The absurdity. Mayim, I saw a flag today, the rainbow flag, and inside of it is a Palestine flag. I don't even know what to say. I can only laugh. Many of us have been prepared for this. And we're glad that you guys woke up finally. Both in America and in Israel. So now the question is, how many of us are there? Because we know that there's a lot of them. You guys ever see the movie World War Z? There's a lot of those zombies out there. We saw them in London, in Brooklyn. It's crazy. But I have a feeling there's more of us than there are of them anyway. The problem is that we're all in our houses, cowering. I'm here to tell you guys, this is not the time to cower. We're in the Purim story now, and it's not the time to be afraid. I'm glad you're awake, and don't fall back asleep. Shavua Tov.